What in the world? See those intruders taking over our community. Victor Langston hisses the accusation while pointing accusingly at the marriage festivities. He charges across his yard, device clutched to his face, tone booming for all attendees to catch. Emergency line, reporting a mob assembly posing as a nuptial event. These crooks are likely scouting properties as we speak. Dispatch all available squads. Elias Harper, sharp in his formal suit, stands rigid as his adjacent dweller's malice pollutes the atmosphere. Sophia clutches her floral arrangement firmer, her bridal gown immaculate amid the vile spectacle emerging. Victor fixes his gaze on Elias during his toxic rant. Forget their outfits. Offenders are offenders. Remove them before they strip us bare. The orchestral tunes from the garden ring empty at this point. Supreme Court justices and legal advocates in the matrimonial crowd observe in shocked quietude as bigotry taints what ought to be unadulterated bliss. What Victor remains unaware of is that he's committed the gravest error of his existence. 3 months prior, Elias Harper had lifted Sophia across the entry of their ideal residence at 1389 Elm Street. The traditional architecture, with its encircling veranda and established pine trees, symbolized all they'd strived for. Elias had dedicated 2 decades ascending from district attorney to national nomination. Sophia had pioneered child medical procedures that preserved existences throughout the country. Riverwood Heights murmured affluence via each groomed feature. High-value residences bordered avenues titled after flora. Sports facilities and aquatic areas concealed behind seclusion barriers. The sort of locale where achievement resided discreetly behind sealed entrances. Yet achievement, they discovered, appeared altered when it bore dark complexion. The initial episode occurred amid Elias's dawn run. Victor Langston had blocked his route outright, limbs folded like a living barricade. "Pardon me, are you a resident here?" The inquiry lingered in the early breeze like haze. Elias had gestured toward his dwelling, perspiration still evaporating on his forehead. Victor's brows furrowed. "I'm merely safeguarding the area." The statement bore an undeniable implication. The torment intensified gradually. Victor lodged grievances with the community board regarding Elias's classic automobile, deeming it unsuitable for local visuals. He interrogated Sophia as she tended their yard, inquiring if she served as the fresh household staff. His inflection consistently held that identical note. Dominance blended with revulsion. At community council sessions, Victor presided like a monarch amid followers. His timbre thundered through the civic hall as he referenced associations. "Sheriff Daniels and I play cards weekly. Governor Ellis visits my gatherings. I maintain this area's security via my networks." Fellow inhabitants agreed silently, hesitant to oppose the individual who professed to govern their asset worth. The Martins, a senior Caucasian pair, murmured encouragement to Elias and Sophia privately, yet remained mute publicly. Dread of Victor's reprisal silenced expressions and permitted unfairness to persist. Elias's national judicial designation had been ratified a fortnight ago, following rigorous legislative reviews. 2 decades of litigating equality matters, upholding the charter and dispensing equity had peaked in this distinction. He would shortly exercise the influence to mold national statutes, to defend the precise privileges Victor disregarded routinely. The paradox didn't escape him. As Victor boasted of acquaintance with regional authorities, Elias would soon surpass them entirely in the national structure. National justices held lifetime terms, their verdicts forming benchmarks that influenced U.S. jurisprudence for eras. Sophia's healthcare practice had garnered global acclaim. Her operative methods featured in scholarly publications universally. She advised national wellness bodies and lectured at symposia from Seattle to Shanghai. However, Victor perceived solely epidermis hue when viewing her. Their nuptial invitees resembled a roster of national influence. Justice Eleanor Vance, Elias's guide, would arrive from the Capitol. National lawyer Michael Reyes had freed his agenda. National guardians, litigators, and jurisprudence experts would honor affection encircled by animosity. On the dawn of their union, Elias positioned in his chamber, refining his neckwear. Via the pane, he observed suppliers convert their rear yard into a refined festivity. Pale canopies fluttered in the wind. Illumination strands anticipated sparkling against the dusk heavens. Blossoms formed curves of hue over the turf. Sophia appeared from their washroom, bridal attire cascading like a stream. 2 decades battling for equity, and this day seemed like conquest. They'd constructed something lovely notwithstanding the foulness encircling them. "Prepared for this?" she queried, her timbre blending thrill with worry. Elias touched her brow softly. "I've awaited this eternally." Beyond, Victor strode his turf like a confined beast. His objections to municipal leaders had been dismissed. The union would continue regardless of his dissent. He eyed national transports pull up, their official markers deriding his regional ties. The locale hummed with expectancy and strain. Certain dwellers had acquired presence, selecting compassion over malice. Others concealed behind drapes, reluctant to select factions. A handful endorsed Victor's position, but wanted his boldness to express overtly. Victor's spouse, Margaret, had wearied of her mate's fixation. Their offspring evaded returning, ashamed by their dad's conduct. His property enterprise faltered as rumors circulated about his notoriety. Still, arrogance and bias propelled him onward toward his personal ruin. As twilight shades extended, opulent transports commenced arriving. National justices alighted onto Elm Street like envoys touring a distant realm. Their attendance altered the residential avenue into an affair nearing a governmental function. The arena was prepared for a clash between malice and equity, between regional bias and national might. Victor Langston was on the verge of grasping that certain conflicts can't be claimed via links and coercion. He was about to uncover the authentic essence of national sovereignty. The matrimonial rite attains its zenith as Elias and Sophia swap pledges under a bloom-adorned trellis. Sophia's timbre quivers with feeling as she vows to cherish Elias amid every trial existence delivers. The phrases seem foretelling in the amber twilight glow. Victor Langston can no longer restrain himself. He dashes to his device, keying with quaking digits. His timbre traverses the serene assembly like a war whoop. Emergency. This is Victor Langston, chair of Riverwood Heights Council, alerting severe unlawful conduct at 1389 Elm Street. Vast cluster of dubious persons, lavish transports that obviously aren't theirs. This resembles syndicate operations masked as a union. His terms ooze with deliberate spite, each expression crafted to provoke utmost law enforcement reaction. He traverses his turf like a hunter encircling quarry, his pricey footwear trampling impeccably trimmed sod. I intimately know Sheriff Daniels and Governor Ellis. They dine at my estate each season. I contribute $75,000 yearly to law enforcement funds. Sheriff Daniels personally guaranteed that alerts from Riverwood Heights get precedence. Victor's timbre elevates with every assertion, guaranteeing matrimonial attendees hear each poisonous syllable. He desires them to comprehend his influence, his alliances, his capacity to shatter their festivity. The crisis operator's timbre crackles via broadcast interference. Every squad urgent alert Riverwood Heights. Alert notes massive assembly, potential unlawful conduct, presumed contraband. Alerter confirmed as council head with authenticated municipal links. Deputy Laura Sanchez peers at her colleague, Novice Lieutenant Alex Rivera, as their patrol vehicle races to the site. The alarm blares through residential hush like a specter, proclaiming ruin. This feels off, Alex. That location is Elias Harper's. He's a national litigator. This alert doesn't add up. Rivera's grip firms with fresh resolve. His fingers blanch on the wheel. Irrelevant who resides there, Laura. We address all alerts impartially. The alerter possesses substantial municipal alliances. Their law enforcement vehicle turns the bend precisely as Elias raises Sophia's covering for their inaugural embrace as partners. The synchronization appears almost orchestrated. Crimson and azure beams cut through the amorous ambiance like blades through velvet. Matrimonial attendees halt mid-ovation. Wine vessels stop midway to mouths. Youngsters conceal behind guardians as the vehicle's beam scans the festivity like a detention floodlight. The symphonic ensemble's melody fades to uneasy stillness. Victor hurries toward the incoming deputies, his countenance reddened with justification. His costly shoes grind on pebbles as he nears like a litigator offering condemning proof to adjudicators. Praise heavens you're present. I've tracked this questionable behavior for ages. Observe this disorder. Unsanctioned transports obstructing our path. Unfamiliar persons lingering with evident felonious purpose. Obvious breaches of numerous municipal rules. His timbre broadcasts over the assembly, assuring utmost embarrassment for the bridal group. National Justice Eleanor Vance, refined in sapphire fabric, views in dismay as her apprentice confronts this communal disgrace. Deputies, I'm Victor Langston. Sheriff Daniels and I share hobbies monthly at Riverwood Leisure Club. Governor Ellis joined my son's commencement fest last quarter. I sustain this locale's safety via my broad networks, and this circumstance demands prompt, resolute measures. Victor extracts his device, navigating lists. Observe this immediate connection to Sheriff Daniels. A single contact from me can forge or shatter law careers here. Deputy Sanchez nears the assembly expertly, her practiced vision observing the refined adornments, ceremonial garb, and clear validity of the event. All indicates matrimonial festivity. Neil hints illicit deeds. Greetings, everyone. We got an alert on a big crowd and possible felonious deeds. Is this a personal event? Elias advances, yet clasping Sophia's shaking palm. His union band captures the waning daylight. Deputies, I'm Elias Harper, property owner. This is our matrimonial gathering. We possess all necessary approvals for this intimate festivity on our land. Victor disrupts prior to deputy reply, his timbre ascending with fabricated dominance and bare disdain. Don't permit him to argue escape. Examine those opulent rides. Audis, Cadillacs, Infinitus. How did these folks afford such? Illicit funds, pilfered rides, cleansing cash via phony matrimonial offerings. He gestures dismissively at the refined assembly. I've witnessed this prior. Felons concealing under false decency. Lieutenant Rivera, verify those tags. You'll uncover stolen transports and pending orders. Deputy Sanchez, if you process those registrations, you'll find purloined vehicles and active warrants. Lieutenant Rivera, swayed by Victor's assured command and recurrently asserted alliances, starts imposing oversight on the scenario. Everyone, distance from the transports. We'll confirm registrations and screen all participants for pending warrants. Alex, Sanchez murmurs pressingly, this is evidently a valid matrimonial event. Survey around. No illicit activity. The alerter holds grave claims and confirmed municipal ties. Rivera retorts rigidly. We must be meticulous, particularly given his bonds with our superiors. Victor grows more belligerent, detecting law support forming. He gestures theatrically at matrimonial attendees, his timbre traversing the locale like a showman declaring anomalies. Observe these alleged attendees. Many likely possess lengthy felon histories. That fellow in the costly attire resembles a contraband overlord. Those ladies in elegant gowns are doubtless elite escorts operating this sham union as facade. Sophia tightens her hold on Elias's limb, her bridal blooms quivering in her spare grasp. 2 decades of healthcare education, operative training, and preserving young lives, and she's labeled an escort at her personal union. Madam, your profession? Rivera inquires Sophia straight, his ledger prepared. I'm Dr. Sophia Reyes Harper, Director of Youth Medicine at Capital Youth Center. She answers with serene poise despite the degradation. Victor jeers boisterously, his mirth resounding over the assembly. Anybody can assert doctor status. Validate her qualifications. Likely as counterfeit as this whole union ploy. National lawyer Michael Reyes, polished in his dress wear, advances with national command. Deputies, I'm National Lawyer Michael Reyes for the Eastern Region. This torment is utterly improper. These are esteemed national figures honoring a peers' union. National figures? Victor's mirth turns more derisive, now claiming national roles. Lieutenant Rivera, their deceptions grow inventive by the instant. The circumstance heightens perilously as additional attendees disclose their statuses. National Justice Lorenzo advances with adjudicative serenity. I'm Justice Lorenzo from the 5th Appellate Court. This festivity is fully valid, and this torment must cease now. Victor's assurance never falters. His timbre amplifies, more dramatic. Disregard their bogus ranks. Anybody can fabricate cards and official badges nowadays. Lieutenant Rivera, unless you commence detentions promptly, I'm contacting Sheriff Daniels directly. You'll be overseeing park patrols by dawn. Rivera senses the oppressive burden of Victor's warned alliances. His vocation balances amid rival powers. Per the alerter's claims, we require examinations of all transports for illegal items and arms. Lieutenant, Elias states softly, his juridical preparation clear. What exact reasonable suspicion do you hold for warrantless transport probes? We possess a trustworthy alerter with authenticated municipal ties alerting active felonious deeds. Rivera answers, his command openly contested by Elias's legal acumen. National Guardian Carlos Mendoza, present as an attendee, intercedes with expert tranquility that pierces the turmoil. Lieutenant, I'm National Guardian Mendoza. Identification, 5672. You're on the brink of breaching the Fourth Amendment privileges of various national figures. I firmly recommend reevaluating your strategy. Victor turns more frantic as his meticulously built tail starts disintegrating under national examination. Guardian, national this, national that. They're all clever deceivers employing phony government proofs. Lieutenant Rivera, these are expert offenders who've researched official methods to evade capture. The showdown attains its most hazardous phase as Rivera, utterly swamped by competing powers and threatened outcomes, renders his ruinous choice. Sir, you're contentious in blocking this probe. I'm detaining you for hindering a law probe and provoking communal unrest. Attendees inhale sharply. Sophia's visage pales beneath her fine covering. National figures observe in astounded, appalled hush as a regional lieutenant endangers detaining a national litigator at his personal union right. Victor's victory appears utterly fulfilled. His timbre ascends in justified revelry. Precisely correct. Detain the chief instigator initially, then methodically proceed through the remainder of these offenders. Governor Ellis and Sheriff Daniels arrive abruptly in the entry, having anxiously tracked law broadcast chatter concerning the developing calamity. Both appear bodily unwell as they swiftly evaluate the disastrous circumstance. Mercy, Sheriff Daniels breathes lowly. What catastrophe have we entered? The vista halts in this instant of utmost unfairness. A prominent national litigator confronting detention at his union, encircled by national figures, communally shamed by a bigoted dweller's deliberate falsehoods, and a novice lieutenant's catastrophically flawed discernment. The impact between regional bias and national command is poised to detonate with immense potency. Victor's assurance attains dizzying peaks as he views Lieutenant Rivera ready restraints. He parades over his turf like a victorious commander, his timbre resounding with power that broadcasts across the whole locale. At last, genuine law enforcement. Lieutenant Rivera, ensure Sheriff Daniels learns of your outstanding conduct this evening. You're precisely the type of deputy this municipality requires. Victor displays his device with dramatic flair, browsing contacts for utmost impact. View this straight line to Sheriff Daniels, Governor Ellis, Municipal Advisor Martinez. I message them frequently on locale protection. They rely on my opinion entirely. He brandishes the device at the attendees like an armament. One contact from me and vocations are forged or ruined in this municipality. Lieutenant Rivera comprehends how authority truly functions. Lieutenant Rivera senses bolstered by Victor's assured backing. The novice's torso expands with misguided arrogance as he inspects the refined assembly with fresh doubt. All must retreat from the transports now. We're performing a complete probe based on reliable accounts of felonious deeds. Deputy Sanchez attempts urgently to mediate. Alex, this is plainly a union festivity. Examine the ornaments, the dress garb, the union pastry. Nothing indicates felonious deeds. The alerter possesses recorded proof and confirmed alliances. Rivera retorts sharply. We don't overlook grave claims from honored community figures. Victor detects the ideal instant to heighten his mental combat. He nears the attendees straight, his timbre seeping with contrived worry. Folks, I realize you believe you're at some festivity, but you're truly observers to structured felonious deeds. I highly suggest cooperating with law before becoming accomplices to any offenses here. National Justice Eleanor Vance advances with years of adjudicative command emanating from her demeanor. Sir, I'm National Justice Eleanor Vance. Your claims are not merely untrue, but possibly felonious themselves. Victor chuckles scornfully, his timbre resounding over the assembly. Justice, you folks are truly dedicated to this pretense. Lieutenant Rivera, they're utilizing phony national proofs now. This confirms how advanced this felonious scheme truly is. Dr. Sophia Harper, yet holding her blooms, observes her ideal day morph into horror. Her timbre shakes with controlled feeling. We hold union certificates, approvals, supplier agreements. All here is fully lawful and recorded. Papers can be counterfeited, Victor proclaims with increasing dramatic style. I've observed these frauds before. Offenders lease fancy garb, produce bogus identifications, orchestrate detailed occasions to cleanse funds, and perform unlawful trade. He gestures theatrically at the union imager. See? They're capturing everything for reconnaissance aims. likely charting the locale for upcoming intrusions. The imager, an anxious youth named Lucas, drops his equipment with trembling limbs. Sir, I'm simply recording their union day. I hold agreements, enterprise permits, all valid. Agreements with offenders are valueless, Victor mocks. You're likely noting protection flaws for future thefts. National lawyer Michael Reyes strives to reinstate reason to the whirling circumstance. Deputies, I'm National Lawyer Reyes. I can confirm the statuses of all present. This torment must halt now. Victor directs his malice toward Reyes with renewed vigor. National Lawyer, these bogus titles are becoming more detailed. Lieutenant Rivera, they're clearly attempting to intimidate you with false national command. Don't allow them to control you. Rivera, fully inundated and adhering to Victor's assured safeguard, renders progressively risky choices. All must present identification for order checks. Any declining will be detained for blocking. National Guardian Carlos Mendoza advances, his emblem shining in the dusk glow. Lieutenant, I'm National Guardian Mendoza. You're infringing the charter rights of national figures based on evidently false claims. Another phony National Guardian? Victor's timbre rises to near frenzy. Lieutenant Rivera, they've clearly studied enforcement protocols. This is what advanced felonious groups do. Imitate national agents to dodge detention. The circumstance whirls further as Victor becomes progressively deranged. His countenance flushes with effort as he strides wildly, gesturing at various attendees. Observe those youngsters. Likely skilled thieves. Those seniors. Ideal disguise for contraband transport. Lieutenant Rivera, you must inspect everyone carefully. Your old Mia Reyes, Sophia's relative and bloom bearer, starts weeping as Victor's claims aim at her straight. Her pale gown and bloom tiara make her appear as a pure seraph. But Victor's suspicion perceives only felonious possibility. That young girl is likely transporting contraband or arms. Youngsters are ideal carriers, since enforcement doesn't doubt them. Lieutenant Rivera, inspect her now. Sophia dashes to shield her relative, her bridal gown streaming as she bends beside the frightened youth. Mia's 9. She's my bloom bearer. How dare you charge a youth with felonious deeds? Phony sentiment, Victor yells victoriously. Typical offender manipulation. Lieutenant Rivera, don't permit them to employ youngsters as barriers. The attendees commence displaying indications of true dread. Senior kin murmur invocations. Youths begin capturing the event on devices. The refined festivity morphs into resembling an enforcement incursion. Elias's ancestor, 92-year-old Pastor William Harper, nears with the poise of an equality pioneer. His weak timbre bears years of insight and suffering. Child, I've witnessed this malice before. In Atlanta, in Little Rock, in Detroit, the outfits and justifications alter, but the malice remains constant. Victor turns his rage toward the senior cleric with startling brutality. Phony pastor enacting the sufferer role. Lieutenant Rivera, this is standard offender mindset, employing aged partners to evoke compassion and evade litigation. The pastor's phrases slice through Victor's fury like a blade through shadow. Young fellow, you're treading a highly perilous route. Malice ruins the malicer more than the maliced. Ideological control, Victor shrieks, fully forfeiting logical restraint. Lieutenant Rivera, this confirms they're advanced offenders using mental combat. Detain them all prior to flight. Rivera, thoroughly tainted by Victor's suspicion, renders his most ruinous choice. I'm summoning reinforcement squads. This circumstance needs mass management and organized detentions. Deputy Sanchez performs one ultimate desperate bid to avert disaster. Alex, we lack reasonable suspicion for detentions. These claims are clearly untrue. We must reduce tension now. The alerter possesses recorded felonious deeds. Rivera answers with mechanical command. His links to municipal leadership authenticate his reliability. We're advancing with complete probe and detentions. Victor's victory attains its summit as enforcement alarms wail afar. Extra squads react to Rivera's aid request, their crimson and azure beams coloring the refined locale in stark, menacing tones. Excellent. More authentic deputies who grasp handling offender scenarios. Lieutenant Rivera, ensure they know of my bonds with Sheriff Daniels and Governor Ellis. The incoming deputies survey the vista with increasing bewilderment. Union ornaments, dress garb, and evident festivity clash fiercely with operator accounts of felonious deeds and mob aggression. Captain Thompson, a seasoned deputy, nears Rivera with worry carved across his aged countenance. Rivera, what precisely are we viewing? This appears a Union festivity. Major felonious operation disguised as Union, Rivera answers with misplaced assurance. The alerter holds authenticated municipal links and recorded proof of ongoing felonious deeds. Victor dashes toward the reinforcement deputies like a leader welcoming allies. Deputies, praise you're here. I've endeavored to secure these offenders detained for ages. Sheriff Daniels recognizes me intimately. Contact him immediately. The seasoned deputies trade concerned looks. Decades of practice inform them something is gravely amiss. But Rivera's assurance and Victor's asserted links generate perilous doubt. As additional enforcement arrives, the tranquil Union festivity morphs into resembling an armed takeover. Blinking beams reflect off wine vessels. Broadcast talk overwhelms symphonic tunes. The odor of enforcement fumes blends with Union blooms. Sophia adheres to Elias's limb, her ideal day fragmented by malice and unawareness. Elias, halt this. Please end this horror. Elias's timbre stays serene despite the disorder around them. Sophia will overcome this. Reality always triumphs, even if delayed. But even Elias can't envision how strikingly and fully the reality is about to burst across this vista of unfairness. Governor Ellis and Sheriff Daniels rest in their crisis transport, tracking broadcast traffic with increasing dismay. The governmental ramifications of this calamity start solidifying in their thoughts. Tom, the governor murmurs to the sheriff, if this is what I suspect, we're facing a national equality disaster. Sheriff Daniels gazes at his broadcast with the look of a man observing his vocation vanish. We must arrive there immediately. This could ruin the whole force. The arena is ready for the most striking turnaround in Riverwood Heights' record. As Lieutenant Rivera elevates his restraints toward Elias's wrists, National Justice Eleanor Vance's timbre pierces the disorder like a thunderclap. Lieutenant Rivera, halt now. You're about to detain the recently ratified National Circuit Justice for the Eastern Region. The terms strike the vista like an atomic blast. Every noise ceases instantly. Victor's victorious smirk solidifies midway. Rivera's limbs quiver as the restraints drop from his hold, rattling onto the asphalt with metallic conclusiveness. Elias extends into his interior coat space with intentional serenity. He presents formal papers bearing national emblems and his adjudicative designation documents authorized by the nation's leader, Lieutenant Rivera. Governor Ellis, I'm Justice Elias Harper, ratified by the United States Congress a fortnight ago and to be inducted next period. The disclosure explodes through the assembly like a surge. Rivera's countenance loses all hue, turning spectral pale in the dusk glow. His limbs visibly tremble as the scale of his disastrous error crashes upon him. Victor's confident sneer morphs into total horror. His lips part and seal silently, like a creature gasping for breath. The vitality drains from his countenance so swiftly, he seems to mature a decade in moments. A national justice? Victor's timbre emerges as a choked murmur. That's inconceivable. National justices don't reside in ordinary locales. This must be some detailed deception. His limbs tremble uncontrollably as truth shatters his meticulously built perspective. National justices reside in the capital. They don't acquire homes in residential areas like regular folks. Justice Vance advances with the complete force of national command. Mr. Langston, national justices dwell in societies throughout the nation. What's very tangible is that you've just submitted false enforcement alerts against a national official, which is a grave national offense. Elias's timbre stays ideally managed, adjudicative disposition whole despite the individual shame he's suffered. Mr. Langston, you've charged national figures with felonious deeds, requested unlawful probes, and tried to have me detained at my personal union. These are national crimes with harsh outcomes. The attendees burst in a blend of revelry and fury. National peers applaud while kin sob with alleviation and wrath. The noise resounds over the locale like storm after bolt. Victor starts breathing rapidly, his torso heaving as terror engulfs him fully. Justice, mercy. This is a horrid mix-up. I was clueless. I'd never intentionally torment a national justice. Unawareness of my role doesn't pardon submitting false enforcement alerts or ethnic torment, Elias replies with silent command. National tribunals view equality breaches very gravely. Governor Ellis and Sheriff Daniels arrive suddenly in the entry, their countenances mirroring pure governmental fear. They spring from their transport like individuals escaping a blazing structure. Justice Harper, Governor Ellis dashes ahead, his timbre breaking with urgency. Representing the whole municipality, I extend our profoundest, most genuine regrets. This is an absolute failure of equity. Sheriff Daniels appears physically sick as he inspects the calamity. Justice Lieutenant Rivera is dismissed instantly, effective this moment. This force will assist completely with any national probe. Rivera's vocation dissipates before his sight. His emblem feels like weight in his space as the burden of national outcomes crushes his tomorrow. Justice? I ruined my whole vocation because I heeded false charges. I hold no defense for my deeds. National Lawyer Reyes advances with litigating command. Justice Harper, this event entails clear breaches of national equality laws. The National Bureau will perform a thorough probe into this torment. Victor turns progressively frantic as the national apparatus starts grinding toward him. Justice, I possess kin and enterprise. I committed one error. Please don't ruin my whole existence. Over this mix-up. Mr. Langston, Elias replies with adjudicative accuracy, this wasn't an error or mix-up. This was intentional ethnic torment using false enforcement alerts as armaments. National statute exists precisely to tackle such breaches. The press surge commences promptly. Media teams arrive within instants, notified by communal media entries from attendees. The tale spreads over the web like blaze. National justice tormented at Union by bigoted dweller. National Justice Lorenzo contributes his timbre to the denunciation. Justice Harper, this torment happened before numerous national figures. We hold scores of national observers to these equality breaches. The full authority reversal turns sharply evident. Elias, the planned sufferer, now dominates the vista with national command. Victor, the aggressor, shrinks in the shadow of national litigation. Rivera, the implementer, confronts vocation ruin and possible national accusations. Victor's device commences ringing ceaselessly as his asserted alliances separate from the calamity. Governor Ellis and Sheriff Daniels, the exact individuals Victor referenced, now plead before their national superior. I require contacting my counsel, Victor murmurs, his timbre scarcely audible. I require contacting my counsel immediately. That would be prudent, Elias replies with adjudicative serenity. You'll need superior juridical representation for national tribunal. The Union imager, no longer fearful, commences recording the historic turnaround. The difference is stunning. Elias positioned with silent poise while Victor crumbles under the burden of his own malice. Sophia nears her partner, her bridal gown spotless despite the disorder encircling them. Elias, our Union Day, turned something more vital than we ever envisioned. Elias clasps her palm softly. Occasionally, equity arrives in unforeseen manners. Sophia, this event will aid shield other households from enduring what we face today. The locale observes through pains as national command asserts over regional bias. Asset values won't drop. They'll rise owing to link with national adjudicative eminence. Victor's property domain starts disintegrating in actual time as patrons annul agreements via urgent calls. His communal media streams explode with denunciation as recordings of his torment go widespread countrywide. The alteration is full and irreversible. The individual Victor attempted to shame and expel from his locale will soon possess the influence to mold equality statute for the whole national region for decades ahead. National equity has reached Riverwood Heights, and it bears Elias Harper's visage. Victor Langston's full mental breakdown unravels in actual time as national truth pulverizes his bigoted illusions. His knees weaken, compelling him to clutch his postbox for stability. Moisture cascades down his countenance despite the chill dusk air. Justice, mercy. I'm pleading. His timbre fractures like an adolescent's. All command vanished. I didn't grasp who you were. My enterprise, my kin. Please don't demolish my whole existence over one horrid error. Elias preserves ideal adjudicative composure despite the individual shame. Mr. Langston, submitting false enforcement alerts against national figures isn't an error. It's a deliberate national crime. National litigators will decide the outcomes. Governor Ellis hurries amid them like an urgent mediator, his governmental vocation flashing before his sight. Justice Harper, the municipality accepts total accountability. We're enacting immediate guideline shifts and will assist with any national probe. Sheriff Daniels acts with armed accuracy. Justice Harper, Lieutenant Rivera is ended promptly for equality breaches. Protection will accompany him from the area within the hour. Rivera's enforcement vocation perishes with communal shame. His emblem strikes the asphalt like a blast. Justice? I demolished 20 years of enforcement labor because I selected bias over equity. National lawyer Reyes advances with litigating command. Justice Harper, the Equity Division will probe this as a national equality breach. Mr. Langston will confront national accusations. Victor's leftover hue drains entirely. National accusations? I can't enter national incarceration. I have offspring. You should have pondered those outcomes before arming the enforcement. Sophia replies with operative accuracy. The media madness detonates instantly. News transports arrive screeching into the locale like rescuers. Journalists spring from vehicles, recorders active. This is Emily Torres broadcasting live from Riverwood Heights, where a national justices union was interrupted by ethnically driven false enforcement alerts. Communal media sparks like fuel ignited by fire. National justice equity surges within instants as clip recordings gain thousands of distributions. Dweller relations alter dramatically. The Martins dash from their dwelling bearing blooms. Justice Harper, we're embarrassed we didn't voice sooner. This locale is privileged to host you. Various dwellers who'd backed Victor began urgent harm management. Ms. Gonzalez nears with fear. Justice Harper. I never endorsed Victor's conduct. I was scared to voice. Victor's occupational collapse quickens like a landslide. His device vibrates with agreement terminations. Property patrons escape like evacuees. Langston Properties is done, he murmurs. 2 decades constructing this enterprise ruined in one twilight. Margaret Langston renders her resolute selection, nearing with true poise. Justice Harper, I'm submitting for separation promptly. My mate's bigotry doesn't reflect my principles. She discards her union band with finality. I won't permit his malice to ruin our offsprings tomorrow. National Guardians arrive to supply protection. Their attendance alters the union from sufferer assembly to guarded national occasion. Guardian Mendoza organizes safeguard effectively. Justice, we're supplying national protection for your festivity's length. The union festivity readies to continue despite injury. Elias and Sophia select affection over malice. We've observed equity triumphing over bias, Elias declares. Let's honor not merely our union, but the victory of national statute. Sophia elevates her blooms like success. No bigoted dweller will lessen our bliss. Today we honor marriage and national equity safeguarding all citizens. Calls inundate municipal center demanding responsibility. National supervision seems unavoidable as the tale acquires countrywide focus. Victor rests on his stairs, domain crumbling. The man who professed to govern the locale now confronts national litigation from his planned sufferer. National equity moves rapidly, preparing the arena for broadened outcomes that will reshape equality implementation. 2 weeks afterward, the Equity Division initiates a thorough national probe with unparalleled assets. Bureau Special Operative Emily Torres heads a group of equality investigators who descend on Victor's existence like electronic historians unearthing malice. Mr. Langston, you're accused with national equality breaches, submitting false accounts to national investigators, and plot to infringe the charter rights of national figures. Operative Torres announces in the plain national structure meeting space. The probe uncovers Victor's broad pattern of discrimination. Bureau electronic analysis revealed years of recorded malice. Correspondence with municipal leaders voicing wishes to maintain the locale pale. Monetary logs displaying contributions linked to biased guideline support. And communal media entries containing overt ethnic insults. We discovered over 250 cases of ethnically driven grievances targeting minority dwellers, Operative Torres clarifies to national litigators. This wasn't a solitary event. It was methodical torment using governmental assets as armaments. Months afterward, Victor's national hearing commences in the Grand National Courthouse, where Elias will soon oversee. The paradox isn't missed by anyone. The individual who tried to expel Elias from his locale now confronts equity in Elias's future workplace. National Prosecutor Sanchez speaks to the adjudicators with devastating accuracy. Ladies and gentlemen, the accused deliberately aimed at a national justice and national figures due to their ethnicity, trying to employ enforcement as tools of ethnic fear. Proof overwhelms the chamber like a torrent. Recordings from multiple perspectives display Victor's deliberate brutality. National justices, litigators, and guardians attest to the unprecedented character of the torment. Specialist observers explain the mental combat inherent in arming enforcement against minorities. Victor's Protection Council battles against impossible probabilities. My patron committed a lapse in discernment, but submitting a disturbance grievance isn't a malice offense. This wasn't a disturbance grievance, Prosecutor Sanchez rebuts. This was mental terrorism masked as public responsibility. The national adjudicators deliver unified guilty decisions on all accusations after merely 90 minutes of consideration. The pace implies they found Victor's deeds particularly heinous. National justice. Rebecca Thompson, unrelated to others, delivers penalties with the burden of charter command. Mr. Langston, your deeds signify a direct assault on national command and charter rights. This tribunal penalties you to 4 years in national incarceration, 6 years monitored freedom, $200,000 in penalties, and 2,500 hours of service at equality groups. Victor's limbs fail entirely as national guardians near with restraints. His cries resound through the chamber like admissions. 4 years, national incarceration, my offspring will forfeit all. You should have contemplated your offspring before assaulting your dwellers, Justice Thompson replies without compassion. Former Lieutenant Rivera confronts separate national litigation for equality breaches. Under guise of statute, his hearing turns a standard example of how regional bias can breach national charter safeguards. Accused Rivera utilized his command as a deputy to impose ethnic discrimination. National Prosecutor Lee clarifies to another adjudicators. He altered his emblem into a tool of suppression. Rivera acquires 18 months in national incarceration and eternal prohibition from enforcement countrywide. No enforcement force in the nation will ever employ him again. The instances catalyze sweeping national guideline reforms. Equity Chief Lee declares the Harper Guideline for addressing ethnically driven enforcement grievances. The Harper instance illustrates why we require national supervision of regional enforcement reactions to discrimination. The Equity Chief states at a countrywide media event, fresh national directives include compulsory national equality instruction for all forces receiving national support, national tracking of crisis systems for ethnically driven contacts, Equity Division supervision of forces with discrimination trends, and national subsidies for locale policing initiatives. Elias and Sophia submit a thorough national civil action seeking both reparations and institutional reform. Equality Counsel Maria Gonzalez represents them in national tribunal. This instance pursues not just reimbursement for our patrons, but basic alterations to prevent national figures from facing ethnic torment in their societies. Gonzalez contends before National Justice Vance. The National Tribunal granted unprecedented reparations, $4 million in restorative reparations, $8 million in disciplinary reparations, compulsory awareness instruction for the whole force, national tracking of municipal guidelines for 8 years, and establishment of a national equality overseer role. The instance sets groundbreaking national benchmarks. Jurisprudence academies across the nation add Harper v. Langston to their equality syllabi. Enforcement academies integrate the instance into required bias instruction programs. Equality scholar Dr. Lee examines the instance's importance. Harper set new safeguards for national figures from ethnically driven torment and showed how regional bias endangers national command. Legislative reaction is quick and resolute. Legislator Martinez backs the national figures safeguard law inspired straight by Elias's ordeal. No national justice, litigator, or figure should confront ethnic torment in their societies, Legislator Martinez states during assembly discussion. This law guarantees national safeguard follows national figures home. The statute passes with massive cross-party backing, creating heightened penalties for aiming national figures and setting quick national reaction groups for equality breaches. Global focus follows as rights groups research the instance. Global Rights Overseer Ramirez references Harper as showing how national systems can shield minority privileges when regional powers falter. Victor's full ruin turns a warning narrative. National verdict triggers cascading outcomes. Property permit eternally withdrawn. Enterprise resources confiscated for penalties and reparations. Societal exclusion from prior colleagues and offspring needing counseling for injury and disgrace. His previous leisure club withdraws affiliation. Governmental allies openly denounce his deeds. Enterprise associates dissolve all links. The individual who professed to control the locale becomes its outcast. Society alteration quickens under national supervision. Riverwood Heights acquires national subsidies for variety initiatives and label as a National Equality Legacy location. Asset values rise due to national focus and adjudicative eminence. Justice Harper's ratification right happens 5 months afterward in the identical national courthouse where Victor was judged. The imagery echoes countrywide as media coverage emphasizes the path from union torment to adjudicative command. Having endured discrimination directly, this tribunal grasps the pressing necessity for national equality safeguard. Justice Harper declares during his initial major decision, setting benchmark that shields minority experts countrywide. His adjudicative verdicts create obligatory benchmarks for national tribunals across the nation, broadened reading of equality laws, heightened safeguard for minority national workers, tougher implementation of anti-bias statutes, and national supervision of regional government discrimination. The instance impacts global guideline as overseas administrations research American national equality implementation. Scholarly meetings worldwide inspect how national command can shield minorities from regional oppression. Instructional bodies revolutionize equality instruction. The Harper benchmark becomes the standard for national equality safeguard. Grant programs back minority learners pursuing national vocations. 1 year afterward, the alteration is full. National supervision ensures lasting shift. Yearly reviews prevent discrimination. And continuous tracking safeguards equality. The locale that once sheltered systematic bigotry becomes a prototype for national equality implementation. Victor serves his national penalty, while Elias molds equality statute that will shield citizens for generations. The difference between their destinies shows how national equity alters both wrongdoers and sufferers. National influence correctly used generated institutional shift that averts future events through structural reform, demonstrating that personal bravery can activate national safeguard for whole societies. 2 years afterward, Justice Elias Harper oversaw equality instances in the Grand National Courthouse. Dawn light flows through high panes, lighting equity symbols etched into stone walls. Folks inquire if that Union Day altered me, Justice Harper contemplates. Enduring unfairness while aware I'd soon hold national influence instructed me that equity postponed is equity refused. Dr. Sophia Harper utilized their injury into countrywide shift. Her workspace shows national designations: Health Chiefs Consultative Group, National Wellness Fairness Unit, Countrywide Equality Panel. Our union injury became a trigger for national healthcare safeguard. Sophia informs healthcare learners, I guarantee minority societies obtain national protections that regional bias can't weaken. Justice Harper's chamber became an equality milestone. His decisions generate obligatory benchmarks protecting citizens nationwide. Juridical experts study his views while global groups watch national equality implementation. Victor Langston serves his 4th year in national incarceration. The domain fully ruined. Citrus uniform substituting costly attire. He addresses enforcement trainees on bigotry's outcomes. I ruined all because I couldn't embrace dark achievement, Victor informs deputies timbre vacant. I forfeited kin, enterprise, liberty, notoriety because I chose malice over compassion. His property collapsed under national probe. Spouse and offspring moved, altering identities to flee link. He became a study in national litigation. Arrest image appearing in instruction materials. Former Lieutenant Rivera labors with Equity Division instruction deputies after serving national time. His vocation ruin alerts enforcement about charter breaches. My deeds breached national statute and nearly ruined blameless folks, Rivera speaks to. I avert other deputies from committing ruinous errors. The Harper instance generated permanent national shifts. The Harper guideline filters ethnically driven contacts. National groups probe equality breaches promptly. Equity Division supervision tracks enforcement in mixed societies. Legislative law set heightened safeguard for minority experts. National support backs mixed growth, swift reaction groups, and bias aversion learning. Riverwood Heights altered into a nationally acknowledged prototype society. Global groups research integration triumph. National rewards attract varied experts, generating lasting integration. National influence must shield all residents from regional bias. Justice Harper speaks to the Countrywide Equality Symposium. When we don robes or bear national command, we dispense equity for all. His adjudicative heritage generates charter safeguards. Heightened national protections, accelerated authority over torment, stricter penalties for false accounts, thorough supervision of regional enforcement. The instance impacts national law protecting privileges across the nation. Legislator Lee champions broadened implementation, generating institutional shift, averting future events. Justice Harper's tale proves national bodies can shield privileges when regional systems falter, the teller clarifies. But national equity demands resident involvement and alertness. This tale displays how one individual's bravery can alter national equality's safeguard for millions. Your expression counts in this struggle for equity. Follow and subscribe for additional tales of equity overcoming malice. Distribute this recording to increase knowledge about national equality protections that secure every society. Remark below. Have you observed discrimination in your society? How did you react? Endorse this recording if you think national equity should shield all citizens equally. Activate alerts to remain current on equality instances and national law. Reach your delegates to back national equality implementation that averts regional discrimination. Alert equality breaches to national powers. Don't depend solely on regional enforcement who might be tainted. Justice Harper's ultimate message bears national command. The national system exists to shield privileges that regional bias would refuse. When residents comprehend national protections and employ them boldly, equity triumphs. The recorder retreats from the courthouse, disclosing equal equity under statute carved in stone, symbolizing how national bodies triumph over regional malice. Here's the query every citizen must respond. When you observe unfairness, will you pursue only regional equity or utilize full national equality protections? Your selection decides whether charter equity serves all citizens equally. Don't merely view this tale, distribute it. Subscribe now. Your involvement aids safeguard equality for all.